Computer hardware and network maintenance. This is actually it is a advanced course, but it covers all the basics things also. So we should understand why we require basics of computers, that is hardware and network. First thing, we can go to the advanced level and make a career in the computer hardware and network maintenance. And second thing, if anyone is doing the career in the software, then small things, if small things, because software works on a computer hardware and with the networking things. So so if there is any some small fault happens, they on their own can rectify and then carry on with work, and that will be their and that thus their efficiency will be increased. So it's a need for everyone. So now Pushp Creations is bringing the computer hardware and network maintenance a course, which is a 1-year course, which will be having a theory in detail. After the completion of a theory, we will go ahead with some practicals. So the syllabus is having around 35 to 36 topics are there, which covers from the basics like how to operate how to operate on safety standards in the industry. From there it starts to the some of the basic components of the electronics, then it goes to the components, motherboards and all the parts of the PC, and then it goes to the somewhat of the office suites, some knowledge of the office suites. Then it goes to the how to connect the computers in the networking, and thus it covers the all the topics of the 35-36 topics. Now in these 35-36 topics, around 10 to 15, around 10 you can say 10 to 15 modules will be there, and we have taken each module as a lesson. So why the it has been taken to keep a person away from a burden. If we take a two modules which are related, but which are not closely related, then it will create the problem for the understanding of the person. So that's the reason we have created a one topic which is a dedicated topic as a one lesson, and we are going ahead with it. So we will be having around 350 to 300 to 350 lessons, which is a modules, and thus we will go ahead with, and it will be having a 1 year experience. 1 year it will be having a 1 year total duration. And that's then the person who will be taking care of you for the computer for theory is a professional which is having around 15 to 20 years around 20 years work experience in the computer field, plus he is a management graduate, so he is well qualified. So you will be having a good knowledge, and you will be having a good fun gaining a knowledge with him. So first lesson is occupational safety and health. So first lesson. So what is occupational safety and health? Occupational safety and health is things which we should know whenever we go to the industry. Even if we go to visit an industry, we should understand what is the occupational safety and health. Unless until we know the occupational safety and health, we might be in a trouble, like we might be facing some accidents, although because we don't know what are the occupational or safety health standards or safety standards. So that's why it's occupational safety and health. It should be known to every person who is working in industry, so also who is going to visit the industry. The occupational safety and health starts with the discipline. Now what is a discipline? Discipline is the ability to control oneself and behave in orderly manner. That means what is a discipline? So if you want to have a rudeness with any person, or you want to talk rude to the person, but he has not done anything wrong, so that you have to speak rudeness, then not that ability to control, then I will not speak rudely, I will speak lightly and politely to him, and he will ask what is the reason. That is the ability to control. And the way you behave, then you behave in a politely with him and get the answers of what you needed. That is behaving in orderly way. So now behaving in orderly way is based on rules and structures. So it is the rules and structures. Now, examples of a discipline in a classroom: teachers use discipline to manage the students' behavior. So, what is it? So, the students should come on a time, students should be punctual, students should not lie, students should not steal, student should not bunk the classes, students should be lenient, students should learn. All those things comes into the discipline. In a workplace, manager use discipline to correct and prevent behavior that harms the organization. Now, why the organization always works for the profits? Now, any worker or any person who is taken for the organization is the organization will try to take utmost from him. So when they try utmost from him, so that discipline is required. So unless under discipline, a person cannot give out 100%. So to take out 100% and to give 100% to the organization, a worker or all the employees should have a discipline, and the person who is in charge should have a disciplined, structured, or a guides or rules and structures, that is a guide, so that if anyone creates the problem, then he can rectify. In a parenting, the parents use the discipline to teach children behavior, responsible behavior and self-control. So they want their child to be a great person, well educated, at a higher, should be respected by all the person in the society, should have a high level in the society. So all those things the parents needs from the children. So the basic point where they are starting is a discipline. The main points of the discipline is surrounded by the 6 points. That means surrounded. If we have surrounded, means the output of the discipline is a 6 points. So if you are a discipline, then you become vigilant, you become loyal, you become positive, you become social, you become confident, and you become a brave. So always think that a discipline is not a single word, it is a conglomerate which is giving the output, and which will be benefited for the society as well as a human behavior, as well as for a human in their personal and the social life. The basic occupational safety remains the same across all industry. So what are the generic issues of OHS, or what is called the occupational health and safety? Identifying hazards in the workplace. So what are the hazards in a workplace that should be identified? What are the risks associated with the hazards? So what are the risks? If that hazard continues, what will the risk? The people will get accident, and the company will suffer losses. These are all the consequences. The safe manual handling. So there should be safe handling without any hazards or any accidents. Who do I report? Suppose if there is a hazard happens, due to hazard an accident happens, then whom should I report? Do I have a fill out a paperwork procedure? The paperwork procedures are needed so that it can be documented and same, and we can come at a conclusion so that it cannot be repeated. What do I need if there is a fire? So if there is a fire, how should I behave? How should I get out of it? And all those things I should understand. Who look after the OH? And now the person who is in charge of OH. These all things a person should know, irrespective of in regards of the OHS ecosystem when working in the industrial environment. What is a hazard? A hazard is anything that is a potential to cause harm. Hazard is anything that like obstructions, anything that will cause harm to a person. So say example, if you put a cord across the walkway, someone will be trembled and it will fall down. A box stored in front of the fire exit. Now if there is a fire and people are running out, then they will not able to go out. Faulty brakes on a forklift. If there are faulty brakes on forklift, the forklift will fall down and there will be the accident. So these are the examples of the hazards. Hazards are the points which creates the accidents. The end points of the hazards. Hazards are the main points that should be taken out to create an accident-free environment. What is a risk? A risk is a likelihood of a harm occurred as a result of being exposed to hazard. What is this? Risk is anything which happens because of the hazard. So we can say a risk, an accident in common when we can say accident. Suppose say example something is kept in a fire exit way, and there is a fire, people are not able to go, then there will be stampede and there will be the loss of the life, and there will be a major accident, the chaos. So these are the end points or the results of the hazards, which are called a risk, or also we can in a common language we call it as accidents. If you spot a hazard in a workplace, it's a duty to report to appropriate person. It's a duty. We should not say that it's not my responsibility, or it's not why I should do it, because safety is everyone's responsibility. Because in an industry we work as a family, because it's a bread and butter of everyone. Let it be of a GM or VP or a president or any of the worker. It's a bread and butter. So if company works, everyone's life will be happier life, and the family life will be happier. So safety, which safety, if you are not concerned with safety, then it will create a problems due to hazards and the risk, and the company may go to the losses, and then all things may happen. The person may lose may lose the job, the company may lock out. So that's n number of things can happen. Basics of safe manual handling. An office, shop or a factory, we will basics of safe manual in the office, shop or factory floor. We will have to have a lift something at the same stage. If not done properly, we can end in a lifelong problem. Now if that is if anyone has to lift any things from the workshop on the shop floor, it is to be done in a systematic way, which is a documented way. Otherwise it may create a problem for a person. He may end up in the accident, or he may have a problem in a spinal cord. What is a manual handling? Manual handling, any activity that involves lifting, lowering, carrying, pushing, pulling, handling, holding or restraining. It may also include stretching, bending, sustained or awkward posture and repetitive movement. That is, whatever we do in a manual, to lift any of the thing, or to do any of the what you call as any of the process, that is a manual. Whatever you do with a manually, which without any machine, any of the process in the workshop, in the shop floor, that is called as a manual handling. So manual handling, when you are lifting a box, or when you are pulling the trolley, and all those things are the manual. So these are all the manual handlings. Now in the manual handling, we should follow a smart lifting techniques. A smart lifting, suppose if you want to lift manually, we want to lift, so I have just said pulling of the trolley. So pulling of the trolley is not a manual. Why? Because because we are using a trolley there, so it is not a manual. But work is a manual, but we are using the machine, so we cannot say it is a manual handling. So smart lifting techniques. So smart is a smart lifting techniques, which can be used to lift any of the things from the shop floor. This technique can be used to pick up the small light loads from the lower level size of the load. Low level. We should understand the size of the load. First we should understand the size of the load, assess the load size, shape, weight, assess the load needs of to assess whether the load needs to be moved, if it is to be moved, where it is to be moved, is there is any obstruction in moving, assess whether mechanical or human assistance is required, move the load so is close to body. So whenever you are moving, so suppose now it is a need that we have to we have to move the box from one punch to another. So when we move the box, which is a load, we should keep it as closer to the body as possible. A load heavier to the lift, or which is heavier, which is which is difficult to lift, should not be carried and should be used appropriate techniques. Always whenever you want to keep the box which you are lifted on the floor, first knee down and then keep. Don't bend and keep, it will create a problem for the smile, and it will be creating the problems in the later half of the life. uh, keep the feet apart and uncomfortable position. Keep and minimize the lower back bending. So for three things, you always bend your knees. Second thing, keep feet apart in a comfortable position, and then minimize lower back bending. Bend knees preferable at as large an angle as possible, but not at a right angle. Use a semi square or a preference to a full square, or in a preference to a square. So here what we want to say is we have to bend the knees preferably at a large as an angle possibly, but not right angle. We have to make a we have to preferably position the knees to the angle which is maximum. We can go up to the right angle, but beyond the right angle it will be a creating. So within the right angle, whatever you bend the knees, it is a perfect one. And with this all the things, if you keep in the mind, then you will be able to lift the box or lift the load, and you will be able to keep the load, and without any of the issues to your health, any issues to the health, and any of the problem which will create the hazards, or hazard taking actions, or hazards which will create the risk. Raise the load with the legs. Achieve the lift smoothly and without jerkness. So whenever you want to raise the load with your legs. Achieve the lift smoothly, and so bend the knees. Now how you bend the knees with the angle apart, go down, hold the load, and then raise the load with your legs. Achieve smoothly and without jerkness. Maintain a normal curvature of the spine to allow the force of the load to be distributed evenly from spine to pelvis. Turn your feet in the direction that you want to move the load. Avoid unnecessary bending, twisting, and bitching. Change the direction by turning your feet and not by back. To set the load down, squat down, keep your head up, and let your legs do the work. So in general, when you want to lift any of the load, you have to bend on the knees, and then you have to keep the angled feet, which can be maximum 90 is not acceptable below the 90. Then you hold load with your arms closed, or with close to your body. Then you stand up with the legs, with the force on the knees, without bending the back. Then change the direction with the feet direction, then move across. Then when you are to keep it, then just what you would have to do is just bend the knees, then just go down, and then you keep the load without bending the knees. This is the safe practice which will not create any problem which will not create a problem, which will not create any cause for the accidents, and which will be a very safe very safe procedure. Manual handling basics. Assess the load and rod you will be using. Use your leg to lift, not your back. Manual handling is just a basic. Assess the load. Route you will be using, and assess the load and route which route you will use. Use your legs to lift, not the back. Keep the load close to your body. Ask for assistance if load is too heavy, for a person, or use a mechanical aid to help such a trolley, such as trolley. Never attempt to lift an object that is too heavy. Accidents or accident reporting. All incidents and incident must be reported in detail and documented. So why it is required? Because find out the correct procedure. So suppose if any procedure is wrong, that will create the accidents, or it will create the incidents. So to know if to know it is a wrong procedure, we should document it. So once we document it, and when we go research it, when we find it is a wrong procedure, we can correct it and make it a right, then we can make it a right procedure. So it should be documented, or any accident or incident should be documented. There may be so in what form it should be documented. There may be incident report form that has to be completed. It has to be it is up to you to ensure this is done. If you do have an accident, this may be a vital piece of evidence. Show the track. If there is accident is happened, then you should show you should know the how it has happened, so that we can rectify it. It is also helps a safety officer to track workplace hazards and prevent them from happening again. What should be reported of an incident form? Who was injured, time and date of execution, if first aid or hospital has been there, any witnesses, signed injured party, witnesses. These are all things are required for the legal things, and the documentation is required for the legal things, and also for the corrective action. What to do in the event of fire? Reported fire to the supervisor that it is a fire. Never use the lift. Evacuate through orderly fashion and to the assembly point. Do not re-enter until the told it is a safe to do so. So always whenever there is a fire, always exit through fire exit, which is dedicated. If there is any fire, that is dedicated to go people to move people out of that fire incident. Remember, safety is everyone's responsibility. Depending on the size of the business, there may be dedicated OHS. If not, someone will be there allocated a fire warden for each of area or floor. They will be direct. I think there will be direct thing if there is a fire. They will direct the things if there is a fire. If you are unsure of your OHS, speak to your supervisor. This should be know. This we should know. And if you are not knowing the things, we should know. We should talk to supervisor, or we should arrange the training of OHS, so that we are get trained, and we in turn we will save ourselves, and so also we will save the assets of the organization. In turn organization will grow. Conditions when artificial respiration is required. Artificial is required when there is an arrest breathing. Without, there is not a cardiac failure, but there is a gap in a breathing. There is not a cardiac failure, but the breathing. The arrest breathing occurs in the following: in accidents. When accidents, your pressure arises, then breathing doesn't come. So the oxygen doesn't reach to the heart. When you are drowning, then gas poisoning, electric shock, anesthesia. So on the industry, we can have mostly we will find accidents. There may be gas poisoning or electric shock. Methods of arterial respiration. Method of arterial respiration are the two types: manual and mechanical. So we will not go for a mechanical. Mechanical requires a special things which we have to be in specialized. So, and first thing, the for a mechanical method, the specialized things are kept in some of the place, and it has to be taken out from there. So it takes a time. So for that reason, we should go for a manual method. So manual method of resuscitation can be applied quickly without waiting for availability of any mechanical aids. Affected person must be proved with a clear air close around neck. Chest region must be loosened. Mouth, face and throat should be cleared of saliva, foreign particles, etc. Mucus. Tongue must be drawn forward, and it must be prevented from falling posteriorly, which may cause a airway obstruction. Manual method of two types: mouth to mouth method and Holger-Nelson method. Thus, In a mouth to mouth, the subject is kept in a supine position, and the person who gives the resuscitation kneels at the side of the subject, and by keeping the thumb on the subject's mouth and lower jaw is pulled down towards and nostrils of the subject are closed with the thumb and index fingers of other hand. Resuscitator then takes a deep breath and exhales in subject with the mouth forcefully. Volume of exhaled air must be twice the normal tidal volume. This is explains the subject of this explains the expand subject length. Then the resuscitator removes the mouth from that of the subject, and now the passive respiration occurs in a subject due to elastic recoil of the lung. This procedure is repeated rate is 10 to 14 in a minute. This till normal respiration is restored. Holger-Nelson method or back pressure arm left method. Subject is placed in a profile position with head turned to one side. Hands are placed under the cheeks with flex on at the elbow joint and the abduction of arms at the shoulders. Resuscitator kneels beside the head of the subject. By placing the palm of the head over the back of the subject, the resuscitator bends the forward with the straight arms without flexion at elbow and applies a pressure on the back of the subject. The mouth-to-mouth method is the most effective and manual method. Carbon dioxide is expired air of the resuscitator can directly stimulate the respiratory centers and facilitate the onset of respiratory. Only the disadvantage of close contact between the mouths of resuscitator and subject may not be acceptable for various reasons. Weight of the resuscitator and the pressure on the back of the subject compresses his chest and expels air from the lungs. After the resuscitator lungs back at the same time, he draws the subject arms forward by holding just above the elbow. This procedure causes expansion of thoracic cage and flow of air into the lungs. The movements are repeated at the rate of 22 per minute till the normal respiration is restored. To ensure the safe use of electricity, avoid water electrical equipments. Ensure cord plugs are in good condition and avoid overloading circuits. Proper grounding, regular maintenance, and the use of safety devices like arc fault circuit interrupters are also crucial. Always prioritize personal safety by turning off power before working on electrical devices and using appropriate protective gear. If someone is electrocuted, the first step is to ensure the power source is cut off and the person is safe from the further danger. If power source can't be done, use a non-conductive method to remove the person from the surround. Then assess the person's condition, checking for the breathing and the pulse and initiating CPR if necessary. Additionally, treat any burns or other injuries and monitor vital signs until the help arrives. Now, this is just a theory which you have completed of the occupational health and safety. It is just a theory. We should understand the things, because once we go to the industry, there is a first aid committee team is there. First aid committee team will train you, and the training will be every year. There will be training and there will be updation. So these things we should understand the things so that we can grasp it at the working level by undergoing the training given by first aid team, OHS team, and all those things. So this covers the first lesson of the occupational health and safety. Thanks all. Let's meet in next session, which is a basic concept of electricity. Now from the next chapter we will be moving towards the core of the we will be moving to step by step to the core of the computers. The first thing which we are taken is just a safety, which is just we have to understand the things, and then we have to understand those things, and then we have to practice it as when required, and then we have update it when we will have a training in the working condition. Thank you.